The voice at first was shaky and uncertain, an air of anxiety surrounding the words it spoke. Did it work? Can you hear me, my child? As the eyes slowly opened, they quickly retreated from the blinding rays of sun that filled the room, finding comfort in the darkness behind their newfound eyelids, until little by little they became used to the golden aura and adjusted to the image in front of them. Can you see me, my child? The voice belonged to a tall, red-faced old man, with his fluffy silver hair shining in the sun. Even his cloud-like moustache couldn't hide the enormous smile across his lips. A collection of bafflement, wonder, and fear appeared on the child's face, as he slowly learned to move his head and observe the room he was in. A cozy woodland cabin surrounded him, the oak log walls encasing them in a warm embrace, as if they were bodyguards from the unknown outside world. The boy didn't stop learning as he began to move his lips. They made a funny squeaking sound as he did so, but for now nothing escaped them. He's only just learned to see, and now he's trying to speak. My child, you must be patient. The man spoke with a loving warmth in his voice, gently caressing the boy's wooden face. His child looked up to him, almost in awe, still confused and struggling to speak, but in an effort to imitate his father, the boy very slowly learned to raise his arm. He extended his perfectly crafted timber fingers and held the man's soft, doughy cheek. His father could barely believe his eyes, letting out a cheery chuckle. He can move! My boy, you can move! His wooden lips creaked as he cooed back to his father. The man shifted down to the boy's slender legs. Can you move your legs? The boy's eyes stared intently at the pair of wooden beams. He attempted to move them, visibly tensing as he did so, making his oak torso creak and jitter. Don't strain yourself, my child, the man spoke gently. Let me help. He slowly raised his left leg, and as he lowered it, he raised his right, and continued the pattern with some speed, gently cooing 1, 2, 1, 2. In a trance-like state, he followed his father's movements, letting his legs kick up and down, until his father looked up with a smile and let go of his legs. And with a hearty laugh, he marvelled as the boy kicked his legs with no help needed. You're doing it, my boy, you're doing it! The boy even let out a warm giggle. His father eventually leaned back in, the wooden legs steaming to a halt. Now, he smiled, we shall see if you can stand like Papa, With the gentle touch of an angel, he placed his large hands beneath the boy's underarms and heaved him from the table he was sat upon, placing him ever so gently onto the soft carpet floor. At first, the boy stumbled in place, attempting to adapt to the soft fibres of the carpet beneath his feet, looking up to his father in fear, until he eventually trundled downwards, gripping onto his tall legs, hugging them tightly. A warm smile spread across the man's lips, looking down to his wooden child and stroking his head. Slow and steady wins the race, my boy, he cooed softly. Papa gently brought the boy back to his feet again, keeping him in place for a moment before slowly letting go. Again, the boy stuttered in his place, but not before slowly gaining balance and standing upright on his two clog-like feet, even unveiling a large smile and spreading his arms wide to show his father. There you go, just like...
Papa?
The boy cut him off before he could even finish. Papa's smile only deepened as he looked down at him. That's right, just like me. Papa once again heaved the boy up, this time to his chest, as fathers tend to do. The boy let loose another small giggle, pressing his timber fingers against Papa's cheeks and nose. Papa laughed along, walking with him in his arms, until he stood by the mirror on top of the mantelpiece, golden in its rims and spotless. There the boy looked long and hard at his own reflection. He looked in wonder at the clean oak that formed his round head, his diamond blue eyes shimmering back at him, his many wooden joints and screws that allowed his limbs to move. He extends his small hand out and traces his fingers along the glass. My little boy, Papa wept slightly. If your mother could see us now, she'd be so proud. That little twinkle you have her eyes, my child. The boy shifted his gaze to Papa's reflection.
Papa?
Papa laughed, nodding his head. I'm here, boyo. I haven't gone anywhere yet. The boy slowly turned his pointed finger to his own reflection. He doesn't speak but looks to Papa as if searching for an answer. Papa smiled, looking to the reflection. That's you, my little Barkley. Barkley pointed at the reflection and moved up and down his father's arms, yelling his name over and over again, giggling wildly. Papa laughed with pride, holding his little wooden wonder close to his beating heart. Barkley didn't even know what the term meant, but he felt safe in his father's embrace, cuddling him tight with a gentle smile across his oak lips. The days and weeks that followed were a journey for both Barkley and Papa. Learning to walk soon became learning to run. Learning to count soon became learning to write, and learning to speak soon became learning to ask. Day by day, Barkley gained knowledge and strength. Soon his father allowed him to play in the woods that surrounded their home, a moment that Barkley would treasure for all his wooden years. He would never forget the warmth of the sun on his oaken shoulders, the cascade of light peeking through the teasing gaps of leaves and branches, the gentle caress of the wind past his ears, or the sweet lullabies of the birds. The Oaken Child would spend hours playing, exploring, and returning home for supper when his father rang the copper bell. Often returning with a scratch or two on his wooden limbs, but Papa didn't mind patching him up. He felt it always gave him purpose. There even came a day when Barkley returned home with a friend. Papa looked on in surprise as Barkley stepped through the log doorway with a small bluebird in his timber hands. The bird shook and trembled, looking up at the man in fear, ensuring to shield its broken wing from the wooden giant that held it. I found him by the river, Barkley began. I couldn't find the nest. I think he was attacked, Papa. The boy looked down, his wooden lips pouting. I couldn't leave him there, Papa. Can we help him? Papa, are you alright? Barkley looked up at his father, confused as to why his eyes were watering, yet he was still smiling. Yes, of course, I'm alright, son, he chuckled, taking a handkerchief and wiping his eyes and brow. He kneels down and holds the boy's shoulders, smiling warmly as he spoke. I just see so much of your mother in you. You share her heart for all living things, no matter how small or large. She would be so proud of you, my child. Barkley shares Papa's smile. He had the best Papa in the whole wide world. Now come on, chirped Papa, leading his son indoors from the setting sun. Our friend here needs some help, Doctor. The pair giggled as they tended to their newfound friend. An unlikely friendship became of that Oaken Child and the bluebird, who Barkley named Zuli. As after they had fixed his wing, the bird didn't dream of leaving their side. There wasn't an hour in any day where Zuli did not perch upon Barkley's shoulder or flutter by his side. The pair went everywhere together. Papa even made a small dish full of seeds, so Zuli could eat them during supper. An unlikely family together as one. But as with most weeks, there came the day where Papa had to go to town for the marketplace. The rules for those days were simple. Have chores done by the time he was back, and don't stray too far from the cabin when you're done. Like most children, Barkley despised chores. Yet he agreed that it was only fair and hugged his father goodbye. As he was sweeping the dust away from the hallway floor, with Zuli perched neatly on his shoulder, he glanced out the window and sighed at the appalling weather. Even once he was done, he would be housebound for the rest of the day. Papa always made a fuss if he got wet, said it was dangerous for him. With a heavy sigh, he leans on the wall for a break. But the wall did not stay to support him. Barkley quickly retracted from his position, causing Zuli to flutter away in fright. He turned to the wall, but there was no wall there. At least not where he was leaning. The wall had opened, revealing a small passage leading down below the cabin. A treacherous tunnel filled only with darkness, save the large bronze hand lantern that hung on the newfound wall. Barkley stared into that deep abyss, frightened out of his mind. Papa had always warned him about the dark. Never go out in the dark, he would say. That's where the nasties get you. Never, ever go into it. And he did not plan to. Despite his burning curiosity, he did not wish to disobey his father. But Zuli clearly did. The bluebird took one look at the miasmic hallway and flew straight in without hesitation, his gentle song echoing down the halls. "Zuli!" Barkley called. "You naughty bird, come back!" But Zuli didn't. If anything, he taunted Barkley with his echoing chirping. Barkley looked at the lantern, then to the abyss. He couldn't leave Zuli down there. He had no choice. With a trembling timber hand, he took the lantern and gripped onto his broomstick for protection. As he slowly crept down the stairs, each step released a cackle of a creak, almost laughing at Barkley's squeaking wooden joints. This only made Barkley feel worse. It felt as if he walked down those stairs for hours, each creak echoing louder and louder as he journeyed down, calling out to his bluebird friend, "Zuli?" Until eventually the song of Zuli sounded closer than before, and Barkley's wooden feet felt the cold welcome of a stone floor. Much unlike decrepit wooden stairs, wherever they were leading to, he had found it. He shone the lantern around the small room he found himself in. Scattered along the wall were what looked like designs, diagrams of contraptions, wooden ones. It was only when Barkley looked to his own arms and legs that he realised they were his own. They were plans for wooden limbs. Pinned to the wall were small scraps of paper, scribbled down with small citations. Oak shows the best results, 1/2 metre in length. Barkley couldn't understand a word of any of it. All those measurements baffled him. His attention soon changed to another diagram, one of a large, round wooden sphere. 2 mirrored circles were highlighted and annotated, as well as other sketched-on facial features. While he didn't understand the wording, he clocked to the fact that these sketches were him. His entire structure from head to toe, diagrammed and calculated to the letter. Weren't all boys and girls like him? Papa never let him see any other children at the market. Why? What is there to hide? Enticed, Barkley traces the annotation to another diagram. This one was strange. Stranger than the others. It was a small cupboard-like device, showing both the plain wooden outside and the complexities of the inside. Some strange container lied within the wooden shell, and inside that container was some kind of apple. At least that's what it looked like to Barclay, like a shriveled apple with strange hooks going in and out of it. Barclay spotted a final scrap of paper, written poorly and almost fearfully. As he leaned in to read it, he was greeted with a grim stench, a pungent, metallic smell. It read, "I beg you, God, please work." It was then that Barclay heard the familiar flutter of wings and the gentle chirp of Zuli. He turned to shine the lantern and spotted his bluebird friend, happily playing with a beakful of yellow straw. "Zuli!" Barclay sighed in relief, cooing the bird to him with an arm to perch on. Zuli flew over in a flash, chirping happily, still holding the... No. Barclay stopped himself. That's not straw, he thought. It was far too fine, faded, and greasy to be straw. He shone the lantern to where Zuli had been playing. The light revealed the chains that held the corpse to the wall. The corpse of a fair-haired woman, missing her eyes, with a large wound in her chest. You have your mother's eyes. You share your mother's heart.